Welcome to Roberts & Co. I'm jeweller Barry Roberts, and here we have, it's heavy, my latest eBay find. Hopefully in here is a Pinfold patent ring sizing machine, a vintage antique now, ring stretcher and reducer. So in the eBay listings, this looked like it was in really good condition, complete, looked like it had been polished up, possibly slightly restored. So first of all, we need to unbox this. It feels heavier than it should. I already own one of these, so I know what they should look like and feel like. The box is the right size, but I don't know why it feels considerably heavier than this model. The reason I bought another one is I actually own two of these. I bought two, which were both incomplete, and the disc on this one's slightly damaged, and I built a good one out of two incomplete, pretty poor condition ones. So I'm hoping, and I use it quite a lot, so I'm hoping this one is in good condition, because what I use them a lot for small rings. I've got loads of different ring sizing machines, and I use the different machines for different things. But what I want to do, we'll unbox this, eBay expectations versus eBay reality. We'll check that it's as described, and then hopefully, if everything's okay, I can make a ring and we'll test this out. I'll show you how these work, both enlarging and reducing band rings. So first up, let's unbox it. So I've asked our AI assistant to research these machines, and it's found a fair amount of information. However, some of the names, certainly the spellings of the names, seem a little muddled, and so do the dates. However, that's simply because the information available online is a little muddled. But here's what it's come back with. Crafted and painted by Arthur Gouge Pinfold and George Valentine Pinfold in July 1895, this device stands as a testimony to the ingenuity embedded in the lineage of the Pinfolds, a family with roots in the realms of music, watchmaking and jewellery craftsmanship. This ring sizing tool was one of the several remarkable inventions the Pinfolds brought to life, encapsulating the spirit of innovation and the family's deep connection with the artistic and craftsmanship vocations. This meticulously designed tool consists of a cast iron base supporting a descending screw ram that can be operated through a cast iron wheel situated at the top. The base proudly carries the inscription Pinfold's Patent, setting a mark of authenticity and trademarked craftsmanship. At its core, a brass collar holds various holes numbered from 1 to 12, indicating the standard ring sizes. These holes can be deftly manoeuvred under the ram to resize rings according to the preference, with two additional conical holes assisting in size reduction. Equipped at the base's forefront is a sturdy steel rod designed to hold 12 original brass attachments, which can be assembled on the ram head and paired with the central collar for efficient and precise ring sizing. Our assistant has also provided a glance into the history of the Pinfold family, stating Arthur Goff Pinfold, born in 1865 in Buckinghamshire, inherited a rich legacy from his father. A skilled musician, watchmaker and jeweller, Arthur, alongside his younger brother George, immersed himself in the art of watchmaking, paving the way for the establishment of A&G Pinfold in Yorkshire in the early 1880s. Despite facing hardships and health issues, the brothers' spirit of invention never waned, giving rise to numerous patented creations that spanned various domains from domestic utilities to musical instruments. Although historical records hint at a later revival around 1920, the original genesis of this ring sizing tool can be traced back to 1895. Its enduring functionality and widespread use in contemporary jewellery craftsmanship bear testimony to its ingenious design and the visionary spirit of the Pinfold brothers. Okay, right, first impressions, phenomenal. It's in as good a condition as it looked in the pictures, so fantastic eBay find. It is in really fantastic condition. Looks original condition. The brass has been polished up at some point. Not recently, because I can tell from experience of lots of polishing that it was polished and it's begun to tarnish. So it's probably polished a little while back, although it is summer and very humid. We're in the middle of a heat wave right now. Whew, so that might just be due to the might be polished recently, it might be due to the humidity, but anyway. This one is twice the weight, more than twice the weight of my original one, which I was actually concerned that I'd been sent the wrong item. The box was so much heavier. I wondered what was in the box. But they're identical in proportions. They're the exact same castings, the same castings for the base, the top and the handle. But this one, I weighed it quickly. This one weighs around 6 or 7 kilos according to my bathroom scales, because my accurate scales only go up to 3 kilos. And this one just errors out my 3 kilo scale. So this one must weigh a fraction over 3 kilos. And that one, according to my inaccurate bathroom scales, about 6 or 7. It's quite a lump. So, yeah. I'm really looking forward to trying this out. We need to make a ring and then test it out. We'll try enlarging and reducing. I'll share with you how I use these to both reduce and enlarge rings. They're very handy for shaping, getting the perfect round shape. There is a heat wave. It's over 35 degrees in here. I'm not just sweating from lifting 6 or 7 kilos. I'm not that out of shape. You're not going to believe that it's 35 degrees in England, but it's a heat wave. So, to test out our ring stretcher and ring reducer machine, we're going to need to make a ring. I'm going to start by making a 2x1mm sterling silver D-shaped wedding band, a timeless classic. I'm going to speed through this process, but I'll give you an idea of the manufacturing process of one of these, and then we will test out the ring stretcher. To get to this stage already, this is 2x1mm sterling silver wire D-shape that we make in-house. To get to this stage is already probably a few hours work. Start with silver grain, melt it, pour it into an ingot mould, then peen the ingot. Then once the peening process is done, it then goes through the rolling mills multiple times. Every few passes it has to be annealed. Then once it's reduced significantly in size, once it's probably about 50% off this size we require, we'll then switch from rolling mills to draw plates, which just get you a much more accurate shape and specific size compared to trying to use D-shaped sections on a rolling mill. So we then go to the 50% profile draw plate, at least 10 holes, probably 15, 20 holes possibly, all the way down to, this is about 10% over 2x1. It's 10% over because that allows scope for polishing. It will probably still be over even once we're done. But anyway, I'm just going to cut 50mm off this and then we'll form it into a ring. Test out the ring on the ring stretchers. So to form this ring, we're using our Durston ring shank bending tool. These are fantastic pieces of kit because the dies are parallel, unlike a tapered triplet. They not only form the ring round, they also keep everything nice and straight. So the ring will need a little bit less manipulation with pliers to line up the joint for soldering than if you were using a tapered triplet. They don't entirely replace the triplet. They don't replace the triplet. You're still going to need a triplet, but they are a fantastic addition to your toolbox if you're making a lot of rings. They save a lot of time lining up the joint. So we've made our 2mm wide by 1mm thick sterling silver D-shaped band ring, a wedding band. After forming it on a steel triplet with a rawhide mallet to get the basic round shape, it's come out at a fraction over a UK size H&1/2. And that's what these Pinfold patent ring stretchers are fantastic for. What I've used them for a lot is the smaller UK sizes. I'm not sure what the largest size they're up to, but we'll find out. So this is perfect for one of these machines. So we'll try and take it up maybe to a size I and then back down to a size H, which would be a pretty standard thing to do with a ring that comes out at a fraction over H&1/2. So let's test it out. I've actually asked our AI, our artificial intelligence, I gave it the Pinfold patent, the actual registered patent from 1895, and asked it to write instructions, modern instructions for the machine. And I confused it a little bit. If you're watching this in the future, we're currently on the public currently has access to ChatGPT version 4, and it's easily confused. So I asked this in the middle of an ongoing chat where it was doing sales and marketing work for us, and it instantly came back with a sales and marketing pitch for the Pinfold patent ring stretching and enlarging machine. And then I corrected it, but it was still in marketing mode, and it has written a sales and marketing pitch for the Pinfold patent ring stretching and enlarging machine as if we're in 1895 or 1914, I think. So it's in the language of the period, which I didn't ask it to do here, but it's a phenomenal thing that it's done. I think it'd be cool to make that advert. Like, we'll get the machine, that'll confuse everyone, won't it? If the next video on the channel is an advert for a machine that was made in 1895 and is no longer in production. So maybe we'll do that. But I corrected it again, and it's made pretty good instructions from the information that they put in the patent from 1895, because obviously they don't come with instructions. They never, I would imagine they didn't come with, jeweler's tools don't come with instructions now. I very much doubt they came with instructions back then. I mean, you never know. May have come with some sort of brochure, maybe things were better back then. But anyway, we've got artificial intelligence from the future making instruction manuals for tools from the past. So I will put all of those in a blog post on the Roberts & Co website so you can read them. Maybe we'll include them in this video, but yeah, they'll definitely be in the blog post. The sales patter and the modern instructions written in the style of written in 1895 language. Right, let's test out the machine. So I've used this style of ring sizer many times before, and I've figured out how they work, and I'll share with you how I use them to both enlarge rings and reduce rings. Now, these don't come with instructions. I'm not sure if they did originally. I doubt it. Most ring stretchers today don't come with instructions. You're expected to get an education or experience before buying one. But what is available for the Pinfold patent ring enlarging and reducing machine is the original patent that the Pinfold brothers filed in July of 1895. So what I've done is I've asked our AI assistant to read the original patent, decipher it, make sense of it, and then write comprehensive instructions for the machine. And this is what it's come up with. And I will make these available on a blog post on the Roberts & Co website so you can read them at your own leisure. So, preparing the ring sizing tool. Set up, place the ring sizing tool on a steady surface, ensure all components including the bed, ram and die block are clean and in proper working condition. Selecting the correct die block. Based on the size of the ring you are working with, rotate the die block to select a hole that matches the size of the ring closely. The die block has various holes for reducing and for enlarging to accommodate different ring sizes. Next, enlarging a ring. Position the ring, place the ring over a suitable hole on the die block, ensuring it sits comfortably without forcing it in. Use the ram. Turn the handle wheel with an attached punch onto the ring. The punch will force through the ring, expanding it gradually. Repeat if necessary. If the ring needs further enlargement, repeat the process using a larger hole on the die block. checking the size. After enlarging, check the size of the ring to see if it fits the desired size. Next are instructions for reducing a ring. Position the ring to reduce the size of a ring. Place it in one of the holes at the top of the die block. Use the ram. Turn the handle wheel to lower the ram with a suitable punch onto the ring, forcing it into the hole to the required distance. Ensure symmetry. If the ring is wide, you may need to reverse it and repeat the process to ensure both sides are equally reduced. Checking the size. Once done, check the size to ensure it's now the desired size. Next are hints and tips. Ensuring evenness. For wide rings, you can reverse the ring and repeat the process to make both sides equal. Custom adjustments. You can use additional die plates with different hole sizes for more custom adjustments. Next are safety measures. Handle with care. Handle the tool with care to avoid any damage to the ring. Professional supervision. If you are unfamiliar with ring sizing, it might be beneficial to seek professional guidance or supervision. And then we have a conclusion. Once the resizing process is completed, clean the ring and check for any necessary adjustments or refinements. Always use the tool with precision to ensure the best results. So, to make rings bigger, we're forcing the small end of the tapered die through the ring, and the ring becomes, essentially the inside diameter becomes the same size as the thicker end of the die you force through. To make the rings smaller, we're using the thick end of the taper to force them into the compression ring and make the ring a fraction of a size smaller. Now, the way these enlarge rings, I think, is slightly better than modern ring sizes because it gives a very even stretch, whereas modern ring sizes are sectional, so you get kind of uneven stretching. Whereas the reduction method on these is comparable to a modern ring stretcher. The dies make it slightly more tricky than the press versions of modern ring stretchers. However, where these do excel is they have a greater range of sizes than modern ring stretchers. Modern ring stretchers only go from about H to Z3, Z4, whereas these do the full range of UK sizes and obviously comparable European, US and Japanese sizes. So they have their pros and their cons. Okay, I hope it came across from that how we managed to take this ring up a size and a half and then down a size. This went from a H&1/2. I then used one of the dies, which really just rounded it off. It didn't alter this, it probably altered the shape of it, but not the size. Next die up took it from a H&1/2 all the way up to a size J, and then I've then taken it back down to a size I. I could keep going. Reduction, I'd probably anneal it if I was to carry on going down to the size H. Few issues with the camera and the ring size of I managed to get the dies stuck on. The dies are sticking on this, and I did then manage to free it, but the camera cut out the key moment that it came off, which was unrepeatable. So, but yeah, we're back in business. There's a number of issues with this particular ring, with this particular model, and not least, I think the ram's actually slightly bent. So the circlip that holds the dies on is not working, and I think that's partly because the bottom of this is very slightly bent, which is one of the reasons the dies are getting stuck on, but it's not the only reason the dies are stuck on. I'm not sure if these are original or not. Some of them might be original, but someone's number stamped the bottoms of them, and it's almost like they've pinned some of the brass metal into the inner diameter of it. So they're actually are going to have to actually file out where they've number stamped these, which might be, I can't imagine that they were originally done like that. So that's a bit of a mystery. I think someone's probably possibly replaced some of the dies and tried to make them all look the same by number stamping them in a similar way. or maybe they were originally like that from another machine, another make and model, and it didn't affect how that worked, because on my other one they're number stamped on the top, and then it's the number stamps on the bottom of these that are making them jam on this machine. I don't know whether I don't know whether this was sold as fully working or not. I can't imagine it was. If it was, either way, I've paid too much for this. This is borderline spare parts, and yeah, 50 quid. I think I paid over 100 too. It does work, but yeah, it needs. I'm not even sure if you could do the work to straighten out that. I mean, you can certainly take some metal off all of the dies, and they will definitely fit. But then they're not going to unless you straighten out that ramrod. The spring ring's never going to function, so they're always going to be just, you know, wanting to fall off. And although, I mean, it's not essential to the function of the tool, but it's nice to have them friction fitted on so they're not falling off and you're not having to play with it. I do really like these. Having said that, I do, as a design, these are a phenomenal design of ring stretcher. However, they're just poorly made. They were poorly made back in the day, but that might just be because of what technology. That might have just been the technology of the time. So the damage. I thought the other one I had was damaged, but this one's got exactly the same damage. It's not damage. It's a problem with the castings. It's exactly the same. But this one being an older one, has got even more porosity in the castings. So I thought someone had actually damaged the inner reduction rings on that. It's not. It's a feature of the castings, because it's replicated in this one. This one's even worse. The brass castings are terrible on this. It's got holes all over the sides of it. But again, it's not. That's cosmetic. It's not. It does not affect the functionality, and obviously it hasn't affected the durability of it either, because it's over 100 years old. What I would like of these, if you were making these, if you made these today, and the patent version of these has a smaller diameter disc on it with a plate over the top, so that it had half as many holes in one of the discs, and you put a plate over it. If they made this in that style, whereas with twice as many dies and twice as many holes, so that you could do all, this does all the UK ring sizes, which modern ring sizes don't do. So this is, in that respect, this is hands down better than any modern ring sizer available from any brand. Like, it just does, the range of sizes this does. Well, no modern ring sizing machine, stretcher or reducer, does the full range of UK sizes, and these do. So from that aspect, it's the best ring size you can buy. But it's 100 years old, so it's not made as well as modern ones. But if they took the original patent, which is expired, so you could actually do it, and doubled the amount of holes using that original design, and doubled the amount of dies, it would be the best ring sizer you could buy. But it would be probably the most expensive ring sizer you could buy as well. I mean, I would have a guess that would, I mean, what is a decent ring sizer? £200-300 made in the UK? I mean, it's going to be 500 or 600 quid. And what kind of market is there for a £500 or £600 ring sizer? Limited. But it would be the best ring sizer you could get. Probably never going to be made. One day, I sold my lathe, annoyingly, but one day, if I'm going to have to get a lathe again, and all I need to do is use one of these frames and make the die. Like, you need the dies, they need to make that. It just needs to be it needs to start out twice, the taper needs to be twice as long. It needs to start out with a piece of brass that big, and then be cut into dies, so that you've got the full A to Z, but in one size increments rather than whatever these are, 1.5 or 2 size increments, and then the brass plate corresponding to each one of those, a brass plate corresponding to each one of those dies. But the brass plate can just fit over one of the brass plates can fit over the top of that existing one. Would I recommend these? I would if you want to do small sizes of rings. As your one and only ring sizing machine, absolutely not. Sizing up is a real pain because of the limited amount of dies that you've got. You're going to have to go up a size and a half, 2 sizes, and then reduce every single time you do it, which is so much more time consuming than a modern ring sizer. For sizing down small rings, they are phenomenal. For sizing up any size of rings, they're a lot more work than a modern ring stretcher. But if you want to do small rings, these are your only choice. Modern ring sizes won't do A, B, C, D, and up. I don't think they'll do much anything less than H, whereas these will do all of those. So, plus, if you're buying antique tools like this one, like I've got all of the modern ring sizing equipment, so I know how to do it. When you buy something like, but you could say this about all antique tools, you're then having to work with the idiosyncrasies, like this is damaged. It's got the dies are kind of not, the dies don't function properly, but there's an issue with the tool here. So not only are you, with antique tools, not only are you doing a job that's relatively, skilled and requires patience and experience, but you're on top of that, you're having to work with tools that don't really function quite as they should. You're working with the idiosyncrasies of damaged, in this case, knackered old tools. So I would recommend them, but I wouldn't recommend you start out with them. And I definitely wouldn't recommend it as your only ring stretcher tool, but I really like them. They look cool as well. So I hope you found that somewhat useful. Instructions for the Pinfold's patent ring stretching machine. And on that note, I'll see you in the next one. Toodles.